Deep in the misty hollers of southeastern Kentucky, where the Appalachian Mountains loom like silent sentinels, lies a secret so dark it chills the soul. They call it the Garden of Purified Angels, an unmarked cemetery hidden from official records, where 156 infants were buried between 1834 and 1859. These tiny lives weren't taken by disease or fate, but by the hands of the very women who delivered them, the Morrison sisters, Margaret, Catherine, and Agnes. Revered as miracle-working midwives across 3 counties, they brought over 800 babies into the world. But recently uncovered journals, hidden for over a century in the walls of their old cabin, reveal a horrifying truth. These women, cloaked in faith, committed systematic infanticide, believing they were purging the world of evil-marked children. Are you ready to face this chilling tale? This story isn't for the faint-hearted. It's for those who dare to uncover the darkest secrets of America's past. If you've got the courage, let's dive into the twisted mission of the Morrison sisters. A tale that will test your resolve. I'm listening from Kentucky. Where are you tuning in from? Let's unravel this nightmare together. In 1834, Harlan County, Kentucky, was a rugged wilderness where faith and survival intertwined. Baptist and Methodist congregations thrived among families who wrestled a living from the unforgiving land. With the nearest doctor 3 days' ride away, midwives were lifelines. Enter the Morrison sisters. Margaret, 42, with piercing blue eyes and the preacher's command of Scripture. Catherine, 38, sturdy and gentle, the backbone of their operation. And Agnes, 35, whose angelic beauty masked an unsettling edge. Their modest cabin on a ridge above the Cumberland River doubled as a birthing sanctuary, its lower floor equipped with beds, surgical tools from Louisville, and a garden of medicinal herbs. Upstairs, a prayer room fueled their growing fanaticism. They wove scripture into their work, praying through labors and comforting anxious families with verses. But in the isolation of the mountains, their faith twisted into something sinister. Harsh winters and weeks of solitude bred a dangerous obsession. They began to see birthmarks not as natural, but as marks of the devil. A strawberry mark was a sign of bloodlust, a port wine stain, a badge of violence. To them, these infants were born cursed, and they were God's chosen to purify them. It began on a bitter February night in 1834. Snow howled outside the Morrison cabin as 19-year-old Sarah McKenzie endured an 18-hour labor. Margaret delivered a healthy baby boy at midnight, his cries piercing the storm. But as Agnes cleaned him by lamplight, she froze. A dark, irregular birthmark covered half his cheek. "A devil's handprint," she whispered. Margaret's eyes narrowed, seeing demonic symbols in the mark. "This child is tainted," she declared, her voice trembling with fervor. "God demands we act." Sarah, delirious from exhaustion, called weakly for her baby. The sisters huddled in the shadows, their whispers drowned by the wind. "We can't let this evil spread," Margaret insisted. Agnes nodded, her angelic face twisted with conviction. Catherine hesitated, but joined them.
In a chilling act, Margaret placed her hands over the infant's nose and mouth. His tiny struggles faded in moments. When Sarah awoke, Margaret's voice dripped with practiced sorrow. "Your baby had complications, dear. God took him to spare him earthly pain." That night, they buried the boy behind their cabin, marking the grave with a wooden cross. Margaret wrote in her journal,
"Their reputation only grew as grieving families praised their compassion. The isolation of the mountains, where infant mortality was common and communication scarce, shielded their crimes. They saw omens in everyday events. A good harvest was God's approval, a harsh winter, punishment for doubters. Convinced they were divine agents, the sisters' mission became a compulsion. In 1840, their perfect system faltered. Rebecca Whitmore, a sharp-witted 23-year-old from a prominent Methodist family, gave birth to her third child under their care. Her daughter, Grace, bore a crescent-shaped birthmark on her shoulder. Margaret deemed it a mark of evil, but Rebecca, educated and alert, demanded her baby. "What's this mark?" she asked, her voice steady. When Margaret hinted at spiritual corruption, Rebecca scoffed. "It's a strawberry hemangioma. My cousin had one. It's harmless." The sisters were stunned. Their usual lives wouldn't work on someone with medical knowledge. Rebecca took Grace home, defying their protests. The failure shook them. Margaret's journal raged about the demonic child allowed to live, predicting spiritual ruin. They obsessively monitored Grace, seeing evil in her smiles and cries. Their paranoia spiraled, expanding their criteria to include minor flaws, an asymmetrical ear, a tiny mole, leading to 18 murders in 1840-41. They added rituals, chanting prayers over victims, turning murder into a sacred ceremony.
The winter of 1847 brought their closest brush with exposure. Mary Catherine Sullivan, a 16-year-old Irish immigrant, gave birth during a blizzard. Her labor was grueling, but her son emerged healthy, until Agnes spotted a claw-shaped birthmark on his cheek. Mary Catherine, fierce despite her exhaustion, demanded her baby. "Give him to me," she cried, sensing their unease. Ignoring her, Margaret moved to purify the child. But Mary Catherine caught the act in a mirror's reflection. She saw Margaret smother her son. "Sweet Jesus, you're murderers!" she screamed, lunging at Margaret. The sisters restrained her, their calm facade cracking. "Who'll believe you?" Margaret sneered. "A foreign girl, mad with grief, against respected midwives?" They gaslighted Mary Catherine, quoting scripture and insisting her grief caused delusions. Her husband, Patrick, swayed by their reputation, believed their tale of complications. The baby joined the secret cemetery, the 63rd victim. But Mary Catherine never forgot, carrying the truth.
By 1856, cracks in the sisters' empire widened. Dr. James Whitmore, Rebecca's husband and a skilled physician, noticed a disturbing pattern. Infants delivered by the Morrisons, with birthmarks or minor defects, died at triple the regional rate. His daughter Grace's survival haunted him. Had she escaped their judgment? At a Methodist revival, he met Mary Catherine, now a mother of 3. Her tearful account of her son's murder confirmed his fears. Whitmore gathered testimonies from grieving families, many recalling the sisters' odd behavior. In October 1856, he led Sheriff William Hayes to the Morrison cabin. Behind it, they found over 100 tiny graves, each marked with a weathered cross. Hidden in the cabin's walls, Margaret's journals detailed every murder with chilling calm. March 15, 1841, purified infant with the beast's mark. God's work continues. Confronted, Margaret ranted about her divine mission. Catherine sobbed in remorse, and Agnes chillingly insisted they'd saved souls. The community reeled in horror. Families who'd trusted the sisters faced renewed grief, realizing their babies were murdered. Mary Catherine's vindication came at the cost of reliving her trauma. The 1857 trial gripped the nation. Reporters flocked to Harlan County as prosecutor Robert Sterling used the sisters' journals and Mary Catherine's testimony to expose their 22-year reign of terror. Dr. Whitmore's data proved the deaths weren't natural. Margaret defended her holy work, quoting scripture with eerie calm. Catherine confessed, broken by guilt, while Agnes showed no remorse, her angelic face masking a monstrous conviction. The jury took 3 hours to convict. Margaret was hanged on October 15, 1857, praying for her victims' souls as the noose tightened. Catherine died in prison in 1864, consumed by depression.
Agnes lived unrepentant until 1871. The Garden of Purified Angels became a consecrated memorial. Its tiny graves marked unknown child, victim of madness. Dr. Whitmore championed midwife regulation, ensuring such horrors couldn't hide behind medical authority. Mary Catherine became a folk hero, advocating for immigrants and women. The Morrison sisters' case shocked America, exposing how faith and isolation could breed evil. It's a warning to question authority and amplify silenced voices. What do you think? Does this make you rethink trust in those who wield power? Share your thoughts and your state below. If this story